Hi there, thanks so much for being here today. These cold, frosty January mornings are making me think like I need to really slow down and stop working against the grain. And do you sometimes feel like you get these obvious glaring signs from the universe that you shouldn't be doing something? Well, I feel like I've been having those for the past 6 weeks, but I haven't been really listening. I've been trying to push through, all to my detriment. So, I've been mostly now staying at home, trying to stay calm and low-key, and even staying home to study even though my cats disrupt me like every 10 minutes. I figured that's better than nothing. So, I've been very focused on trying to get this PMP certification done, thinking a 4-week crash course and cramming as much study materials as possible in the time frame would help me be ready by early January and be on my way. Well, life had other plans. About 6 weeks ago, mid-December, I felt like I was making good stride. I was on a streak and had this momentum going. But a couple of events since then really derailed my energy, really disrupted this feeling good and focused, being able to pay attention and be on track. So around mid-December, there was a very large car accident. I was narrowly missed from a head-on collision, but I was a witness to the accident. It was on my way back from the grocery store after I had picked up my groceries that I ordered online. I was heading northbound, sitting at a red light ready to make a left turn to go westbound and hop on the freeway. I was the second car in line, and the opposite street, the perpendicular street, had the right-of-way. They had the green light. But out of nowhere, coming towards the south, on the northbound side of the street I was on, basically the opposite side of the street, a car came whizzing down, barreling down, I dare say, at about 60 to 70 miles an hour on this 4-lane street. And this car slammed into the back truck bed of a car that was passing by on the perpendicular street, then narrowly missed hitting a pedestrian who was crossing the street, but struck the car in front of me on the left half front of their vehicle. Then it did a quick swerve, bouncing off that momentum from the motion of hitting that car into like a C shape, and then I saw in a flash of a moment the car barreling towards me. In that flash of a second, probably nanoseconds, I saw all the worst possible scenarios. Either I will be hit and be seriously injured, and or my car would be totaled in the front of left side. And I could just see all the money I had saved being wiped out in one fell swoop, and the horrible situation I would be in thereafter. But in that split nanosecond, maybe micron seconds, I made eye contact with this driver, the suspect. And inside my mind, I yelled, "Please don't hit me." I don't know if it was divine intervention or not, or pure luck. When this guy was less than half a foot from striking me, he did the sharpest right turn swerve. He turned the steering wheel in sharp motion to the right, and instead he slammed and ran into the glass partitioned enclosed bus stop, crashing and shattering glass everywhere and then knocking over the bus stop sign. It was a huge accident. His car was completely rammed in and totaled in the front. I was worried about him, but also the driver in the front who was struck, as they were driving a very old, small Suzuki compact car, and the driver looked like an elderly person. I was making these very quick decisions of what to do, whether I should stay still, and that I should maybe wait to see if the driver in front of me was alive, conscious, okay, if he or she would come out of the car. And then our left turn sign turned green, and then I saw that the Suzuki was going to move on along. They proceeded to make a left turn, and I decided in a very quick moment I'm going to follow the car, and hopefully they pull over and I can make sure that they're okay. And I did see that the Suzuki pulled over into a side residential street. I went to the opposite side behind a commercial building close to the bus stop, and I parked there so that I could provide any witness accounts to authorities and lend help wherever I could. And then also wanted to see if the driver, who ended up being a suspect of basically a crime scene, was physically okay. By this time, patrons, business owners, workers of all the nearby businesses came out. They pulled out their phones, recording the scene, and they even tried to help and go in to extract the guy who caused the crash. I showed up on the scene where the bus stop was completely destroyed. It was in front of a Pilates fitness studio. The owners came out, the receptionists, the coordinators all came out. They were recording the scene. They were actually attending to the driver, trying to see if he was okay. But when I got there, I saw that there was no driver. He disappeared. I talked to the coordinator, a young guy, who said that he recorded a scene as soon as he heard the first crash. And he told me that he tried to approach the guy to help him. But the guy, the suspect, was probably very high on fentanyl and or meth. And that I did get a glimpse of the guy. He was a tall, scrawny guy. He seemed a little bit strung up. The male coordinator who worked at the Pilates studio said that when he approached the guy to offer help and check up on him, the driver emerged with a 2x4 in his hand, raised it over his head in a way to swing it towards the guy. So the coordinator stepped back to protect himself. And then he said that the guy actually sped down, ran down the street, and fled the scene. And then shortly thereafter, the two drivers, the truck driver and the Suzuki driver, showed up, asking where the guy is. They were visibly very angry, rightfully so, because now they have no way to collect insurance information, etc. The guy who crashed the car most likely stole the car. It was missing a license plate. It was an older Honda Accord EX, probably from like 1998 or 1999. And what was very bewildering is how he was able to get a compact car's entire bumper fitted into the back seat of this car with the Oregon license plate attached, all the while this car that he was driving was missing a license plate. Such a scene is actually quite common where I live, but this is the first where I was involved in a major accident and had my life flash before my eyes for the second time actually living here. I felt so fortunate and oddly like questioning, why was I spared? And these two, the elderly gentleman and the other gentleman, younger gentleman, why did they come into such bad luck? I was just thanking my lucky stars. I was thanking the divine, the universe, and my guardian angels, my precious son, who I believe is also an angel who looks over me. I stuck around the scene for about an hour, helping to call the police, trying to get through the line to get some response here because the crash scene was blocking an entire lane of the street. I was conversing with the business owners and the workers, and we're all just jarred. And also talking to the lady pedestrian who was almost struck. I can't imagine. She must have felt her life flash before her eyes, knowing she narrowly was missed a horrific high-speed crash. So that happened. That threw me off my track of getting this PMP exam done. It took about a couple of days for me to stop ruminating and just pondering over and shake that feeling and the jitters. Once I exchanged and provided information with the police, I wanted to make sure the victims were also okay. Once they seemed okay, I went home. And yet, for some reason, that event has shaken me up enough to kind of break my rhythm and get me falling off the wagon. I started to struggle trying to muster the motivation and energy to study. I didn't have a desire to go to the coffee shop. So my study efforts have been very inconsistent in the month of December. And then I would be met with another event towards the end of the year that completely derailed me. So, essentially a rescue cat situation of a very scared cat appearing on my patio in the dead of night, waking me up, waking my cats up. Ultimately, there was a happy ending with the cat being reunited with their owners, but not without a debacle and dealing with some very unhelpful community social media commenters. Given that I already have more cats than I'm allowed to have, I do live in a lot of paranoia because the property management lives on site with the community. So I knew I couldn't keep another cat even if I wanted to, and I had no desire to, honestly. I'm just not in a position to be supporting 5 cats total. But all in all, this cat showed up in the middle of the night, a few days before New Year's Day. When I contacted local rescues and Humane Society, they could not offer help because they were all full. The Humane Society was only taking the most injured or badly injured, very sick animals. They told me that I have to make the difficult decision to decide to let the cat back outside or if I could keep the cat somehow. I know I just couldn't, given that the cat did cry all night. The last thing I need right now in my life is a noise complaint filed against me. So I'd let the cat back out into the community so that he can mingle with the other outdoor and strays and find a food source, as there are many cat ladies who leave out platters of food and housing for the strays and the outdoor cats. I had to clap back at a few commenters who said that I did the wrong thing, that they would not have done that, trying to shame me. I'm glad that I put them in their place, because I feel like those type of people probably live their entire lives 5, 6, 7 decades without an ounce of self-awareness or someone putting them in their place. I told them to basically shut up because they're not offering or volunteering any help, even though they own homes. And I clearly stated that I could not keep any more animals, as I live in a rental with a strict pet policy. So that took about a week to get out of my system. It was gnawing on me, and I haven't been able to really study since. Sometimes I think the universe just sends you these things and glaring signs to tell you to take your foot off the pedal, and that you shouldn't be focused on this thing right now. I want you to focus on other things that are actually helping you, making you happy, healthier, and a better person overall. I've done my share of rescuing cats, giving back to the community, like making care packages for the homeless, and buying meals for the homeless here and there, donating clothes to shelters and such. I think this is the universe's way of kicking me in the butt, reminding me it's time to focus on me. Let me know in the comments below if you feel like there is something that you're trying to get done, but you're grinding your gears, it's really not moving. It's like a stick in the mud. Do you think perhaps it's a way for your mind, body, and the universe telling you to just stop doing that? I think in my case, this is what it is. I'm sure there will be a time when I'm motivated again and driven, and I'll pick up exactly where I left off and I'll be perfectly fine. But for the time being, perhaps for the rest of this month and into February, my body and my mind is telling me no, it's physically, mentally impossible for you to continue doing something that you have no interest in. It does feel in a way like punishment, so I decided I'm going to focus on the things that are going well for me. It's so hard, it's a tongue twister. I'm not through telling you. My acting classes, my dance classes, meetup events that I'm coordinating, my small little arts and crafts projects, learning, sewing, things of that nature. So I hope that January is treating you well so far, and that you have not had any hiccups like I have had in the past few weeks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you take good care of yourself and hope to catch you soon. Take care.